Welcome to Dreamtime Science, where curiosity meets tranquility and knowledge flows like a gentle stream. Here we explore the wonders of our universe at a pace that soothes the mind. You know what's fascinating? I've been thinking a lot about how our minds wander through these vivid stories every night, like little movies playing just for us. There's something remarkable about dreams, how they weave together memories, emotions, and imagination in such mysterious ways. And tonight, I'd love to gently explore what might be going on behind the scenes when we dream, and what those dreams could really mean. Your gentle engagement through likes and subscriptions illuminates this quiet corner of knowledge. Let me know in the comments what scientific mysteries you'd love to explore together. First, let's create the perfect space for learning. Cocoon yourself in comfort, release any lingering tension, and let your breath become soft and steady. In the hush of night, when the world drapes itself in a velvet hush, and the boundaries of day dissolve, the mind becomes a theatre for wonders. This is the time when dreams come, illuminations that flicker and dance behind closed eyelids, spun from the mysterious fabric of our own consciousness. For as long as humans have gazed at the stars, huddled by the fireside, and told stories to ease the long journey of night, dreams have been both companions and riddles. They are the secret rivers running through the continents of our minds, and their significance has echoed through every culture, every era, every searching soul. Long before the first ink touched clay tablets or papyrus scrolls, people wondered at the visions that came with sleep. In the earliest flickers of civilization, dreams were not simply idle fancies or neural static. They were messages, omens, sometimes from the gods, sometimes from ancestors, sometimes from the tangled depths of the soul itself. In ancient Sumer, the cradle of writing and law, the Epic of Gilgamesh tells of kings who sought meaning in dreams, seeing them as bridges to a realm beyond mortal sight. A dream could foretell danger or promise glory. A god might whisper in the guise of a familiar friend or a veiled stranger. Dreams, to the Sumerians, were not private amusements. They were missives from a wider, mysterious world. Across the Nile, the ancient Egyptians charted their dreams with meticulous care. They believed that the soul, or Ba, slipped loose from the body each night, wandering the landscapes of the Duat, the shadowy underworld. Dream books, collections of interpretations, were treasured possessions, consulted by priests and layfolk alike. If you dreamt of being bitten by a snake, it might mean a lurking enemy. To dream of flying, perhaps, a sign of spiritual ascent. The Egyptians saw no clean line between waking and sleeping worlds. Both belong to the cosmic tapestry woven by gods with inscrutable intentions. In the sun-struck lands of Greece, dreams acquired a new dimension. The Greeks were storytellers, philosophers, and seekers, and their fascination with dreams shimmered through myth and drama. In the Iliad, the mighty Agamemnon is visited by a deceptive dream sent by Zeus himself. Temples to Asclepius, the god of healing, welcomed pilgrims who slept in sacred enclosures, hoping for dream visions that would bring cures from the divine. For Aristotle, dreams reflected the stirrings of the body and mind, while for Plato they suggested an immortal soul temporarily unmoored from its earthly vessel. The boundary between the rational and the mystical was porous. The dream, a liminal space, both of and beyond the self. Further east, in the lands of Vedic India, dreams shimmered with philosophical significance. The Upanishads, ancient texts of spiritual insight, spoke of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep as three states of self, each a passage through levels of reality. In the dreaming state, one encountered not illusions, but another facet of existence, an interplay of Maya, the cosmic illusion, and Atman, the true self. Dreams could contain teachings, trials, or glimpses of lives yet to come. With each night's passage, the soul traversed a hidden geography, mapping truths that waking logic might never grasp. To the indigenous societies of the Americas, dreams were not only personal but communal. Among the Ojibwe, the crafting of dream catchers arose from the belief that dreams are woven with purpose and meaning. Bad dreams, like biting insects, would be caught in the net and neutralized by the morning sun, while good dreams would slip through the web and descend gently onto the sleeper. The Lakota, the Maya, the Inca, all held ceremonies, recounted dream visions, and believed that the dream world was a place of encounter with spirit beings, ancestors, and the deep forces of nature. In these traditions, the dream is not merely a byproduct of the brain. It is a realm to be entered with care and respect, a hunting ground for wisdom and power. Even in the cold logic of imperial China, dreams retained their mystery. The philosopher Zhuangzi famously wrote of dreaming he was a butterfly, only to awaken and wonder whether he was now a man who had dreamed of being a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming of being a man. This paradox, where the dream and waking world blur, remains one of the most haunting questions in human thought. Can we ever truly know which world is real? The dream, in its ephemeral brilliance, challenges the certainty of waking life. In the Middle Ages, dreams carried the heavy freight of Christian symbolism. They were seen as battlegrounds for the soul, places where angels and devils contended for a sleeper's allegiance. Saints and mystics spoke of visions received in the night, warnings, prophecies, or glimpses of divine glory. Yet, as the centuries turned and reason began to stir, the dream's place in the human story shifted once again. By the time of the Enlightenment, philosophers such as Descartes questioned the very fabric of reality, haunted by the possibility that all of life might itself be a dream. How curious it is, then, that in every civilization dreams have been both feared and venerated, dismissed as folly and sought as treasure. They are the wild cards of the mind, sometimes delivering insight, sometimes chaos. One cannot command a dream as one would a thought or a memory. They arrive unbidden, shape-shifting, as if powered by a logic all their own. It is this very unpredictability, this refusal to be tamed, that has made dreams irresistible not only to priests and poets, but to the architects of imagination, those who build worlds from stories. For as soon as humanity learned to share tales, dreams became the perfect canvas for the fantastic. After all, what other realm allows for such freedom, where the dead may speak, the laws of physics may bend, and the self may dissolve and reform in an endless masquerade? Consider the ancient tales, Gilgamesh's prophetic nightmares, Jacob's ladder reaching from earth to heaven, Joseph's rise to power in Egypt thanks to his mastery of dream interpretation. These are more than stories. They are blueprints for a world where dreams shape destinies. In every epoch, the question returns: is the dream a message from outside, or a mirror reflecting the hidden workings of our own minds? As centuries passed, the allure of dreams only grew. In the fevered minds of poets and artists, the dream became a crucible for creativity. The surrealists of the early 20th century, led by André Breton and Salvador Dalí, sought to abolish the boundaries between waking and dreaming, painting and prose. To them, the dream was not a mere curiosity, but a portal to deeper truths. In the looping, irrational logic of dreams, they found the raw material for new art forms, images that startled, provoked, and delighted. All the while, the sciences began to circle the phenomenon of dreams with growing curiosity. Yet, even as laboratory instruments multiplied and theories proliferated, the essential mystery remained. Why do we dream? What do dreams mean? Are they the echo of ancient instincts, the brain's attempt to process memory, or something more? The dream, it seems, forever hovers at the edge of understanding, a territory both mapped and unmapped, known and unknowable. It is perhaps no surprise then that as scientific knowledge advanced, the fascination with dreams found fertile ground in the speculative realms of science fiction. Here, in the imagined futures and alternate realities of literature and film, dreams moved from the shadows of myth into the brilliant glare of possibility. In these stories, dreams are not only experiences, but technologies, gateways, and battlegrounds. Take, for instance, the haunting landscapes of Philip K. Dick's fiction. In Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the boundaries between memory, dream, and reality are blurred to the point of dissolution. The protagonist, Rick Deckard, moves through a world where implanted memories and artificial dreams are indistinguishable from lived experience. Who, then, is truly awake? What is real, and what is a construct? Dick's worlds are riddled with uncertainty, mirroring the deep ambiguities of the dreaming mind. Or consider the film Inception, where dreams are not only personal but shared, spaces that can be entered, manipulated, and even weaponized. Here, the dream is both a fortress and a labyrinth, fraught with danger and possibility. The characters descend through layers of dreaming, each more unstable and vivid than the last, in search of a hidden idea. Time stretches and warps, physics unravels, and the distinction between dream and waking world becomes ever more tenuous. In this vision, dreams are no longer passive experiences, but terrains to be explored and shaped, if one can only master the rules. Science fiction, in its many forms, has delighted in the possibilities that dreaming presents. In some stories, dreams are a means of communication with alien minds, a common ground where human and non-human consciousness might meet. In others, they are the last refuge of privacy in a world of surveillance, or the seedbed of rebellion against totalitarian control. The dream, in these narratives, becomes a crucible for identity, resistance, and transformation. There are tales where dreams are harnessed as tools for healing, where the traumas of waking life can be revisited and rewritten in the soft clay of the dreamscape. There are others where dreams are nightmares unleashed, as in the phantasms conjured by H.P. Lovecraft, cosmic horrors that slip through the cracks of sleep to haunt the waking hours. In every case, the dream serves as a space where the usual laws dissolve, where the self may be confronted by its own shadows or set free to soar. Yet for all the power and peril that dreams hold in fiction, they are never entirely divorced from their ancient roots. The dream remains a message, a puzzle, a secret. It is a place where the ordinary and the extraordinary meet, a crossroads where the sleeper is both audience and participant, creator and created. Through every culture, every story, every scientific hypothesis, one thread remains constant. The dream is a place of possibility. It is the original virtual reality, crafted not by machines, but by the mind itself. In dreams, we are all explorers, voyaging across landscapes more vast than continents, more mutable than clouds. We are kings and exiles, children and elders, animals and spirits, heroes and monsters, sometimes all in the span of a single night. So much of what it means to be human is tied to this nightly journey. The questions we ask of dreams are the questions we ask of ourselves. Who am I? What is real? What lies beyond the veil of consciousness? Each night, as you drift towards sleep, you stand on the threshold of this ancient mystery, ready to enter the dreamscape that billions before you have wandered. And as the world outside dims, and the steady rhythms of your breath deepen, the stage is set for another journey. The stories you carry, the memories you hold, the fears and hopes tucked away in the corners of your mind, all are fodder for the dreaming self. The curtain rises, and the mind, ever inventive, begins to weave. Here, the mythic and the scientific, the ancient and the futuristic, cross paths. Tonight, as every night, you step into the place where history and imagination meet. The dreamscape opens, and you are both audience and actor, wandering through the realms that have shaped human life since the dawn of memory. What secrets wait in this shadowed place? What stories have yet to be spun? What riddles posed? What wonders revealed? The night is long, and the dreamscape vast. In the soft hush that marks the passage from waking to sleep, the journey continues, ever onward, into the heart of mystery. There is a hush that settles over the mind as it slips into the quiet corridors of night. The outside world, with its clamour and certainty, fades away. In its place, a new landscape unfolds, one that is both intimately familiar and forever elusive. Here, in the deepening folds of sleep, dreams begin their intricate dance. They arrive quietly, sometimes with the gentle hush of a remembered voice, sometimes as a riot of colour and sensation, and sometimes as a tangle of puzzles that slip through the fingers of understanding as soon as we try to grasp them. The tapestry of dreams is vast and bewildering, threaded with symbols and memories, stitched together by the secret logic of the sleeping mind. To peer into this world is to set foot on shifting ground. For centuries, dreams have been the subject of fascination, awe, and debate. Ancient civilizations wove elaborate mythologies around them, treating dreams as messages from gods or ancestors, as prophecies, warnings, or blessings. In the temples of Mesopotamia, dream interpreters listened to the whispered recollections of the night and offered their translations, believing that the sleeping mind could pierce the veil between the mortal and the divine. Egyptians, too, inscribed the meanings of dreams onto papyrus, crafting dream books that catalogued the omens hidden in nocturnal visions. Even the Greeks, with their rational philosophers and budding sciences, maintained sanctuaries for dream incubation, where the sick and troubled might sleep in the hope of receiving healing guidance from Asclepius, god of medicine. Yet, for all the reverence and attention dreams have received, their true nature remained and remains resistant to easy explanation. What is a dream? Is it the detritus of the day, swept up and rearranged in the mind's subconscious chambers? Is it a hidden message, a rehearsal, or an invention? The more closely we observe, the more intricate and elusive the answer becomes. Modern science, with its instruments and its insistence on evidence, has gazed into the sleeping brain and witnessed marvels. In the laboratory, researchers watch as the brain's electrical activity shifts and pulses according to the stages of sleep. The most vivid dreams, we now know, tend to arise during rapid eye movement, or REM, sleep, a state discovered only in the mid-20th century, when a pair of researchers noticed the darting movements of their young son's closed eyes as he slumbered. This phase, marked by heightened brain activity, irregular breathing, and a paradoxical paralysis of the body's major muscles, is a curious mimicry of wakefulness. The cortex hums with electrical signals as if the brain is alive with thought, even as the body lies motionless. Yet even here, the boundaries are blurred. Dreams do not belong exclusively to REM sleep. They spill over into other phases, appearing during the slow, deep waves of non-REM sleep, though often less vivid and less bizarre. Some dreams are intricate, unfolding with the complexity and coherence of a novel. Others are fragmentary, flickering, or nonsensical. There are dreams that seem to last for hours, and dreams that compress whole lifetimes into the space of a moment. Some are threaded through with memory, reweaving the threads of yesterday into new patterns. Others are wild inventions, landscapes and stories never lived, never thought, until the dreamer finds themselves within their embrace. To attempt to map this territory is to confront its resistance to order. The tools of neuroscience can trace the surges of neurotransmitters, the choreography of brain regions, the interplay of chemicals like serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine. They can show us which circuits glow with activity as a sleeper dreams. The limbic system, seat of emotion, flares with feeling, while the prefrontal cortex, architect of logic and inhibition, dims its lights. Yet for all this knowledge, the question of meaning, of purpose, remains unsettled. Why do we dream? What is the secret function, if any, of these nightly fictions? Some scientists have argued that dreams are simply the byproduct of the brain's nightly housekeeping, its effort to process memories, to prune and strengthen synaptic connections, to clear away the clutter of the day. This activation synthesis hypothesis suggests that the brain, flooded with bursts of spontaneous neural activity, attempts to weave these into a coherent narrative. The dream, then, is a kind of improvised story, an attempt to impose order on chaos. Others see dreams as a rehearsal, an arena in which we practice responses to threats, rehearse for challenges, or solve problems that elude us in waking life. There are those who see dreams as the mind's theatre, a place where suppressed desires and hidden fears find expression, as Sigmund Freud famously proposed, while others dismiss the search for meaning altogether, regarding dreams as little more than the mind's idle play. But the dream resists such simplification. For every theory there is an exception, a dream that refuses to fit. There are dreams that haunt us, returning night after night, their meaning opaque, but their emotional weight undeniable. There are lucid dreams, in which the sleeper becomes aware of dreaming, and seizes the reins of the story, bending it to their will, an extraordinary feat of consciousness within unconsciousness. There are shared dreams, or the sense of them, when two people awaken with eerily similar recollections. There are prophetic dreams, or the feeling of them, when the events of the night seem to foreshadow those of the coming day. And there are nightmares, those dark corridors of the mind, where fear and memory entwine, sometimes so vivid that the heart pounds and the body jolts awake, as if to flee some unseen danger. The language of dreams is not the language of daylight. It is a language of symbols, of associations, of logic, that twists and turns, doubling back on itself. A staircase becomes a river. A familiar face becomes a stranger. A single word or image is freighted with layers of meaning, some personal, some universal. The dream draws from the raw material of memory, emotion, perception, but it rearranges, distorts, transforms. The boundaries between self and other, between past and present, between reality and invention, become porous. In dreams, we may speak in languages we have never learned, visit places that do not exist, experience emotions with an intensity undiluted by the constraints of waking life. Yet, for all their richness, dreams are fragile. Upon waking, their substance begins to dissolve. The images that seem so clear in the midst of sleep retreat into shadow, leaving behind only fragments, a sense of longing, a sudden insight, a lingering unease. The act of remembering a dream is itself creative. Each telling reshapes the memory, filling in gaps, smoothing over contradictions, inventing coherence where there was none. The dream slips away, half remembered, half invented, always receding just beyond the reach of certainty. Scientists have tried to capture dreams, to render them visible and legible. Electroencephalograms trace the brain's rhythms. fMRI machines map the flow of blood and energy. Some researchers have even begun to reconstruct dream imagery by analyzing patterns of neural activity, matching them to visual databases, and offering ghostly approximations of what the sleeper might have seen. Yet the chasm between the experience of dreaming and its outward signs remains vast. No scan can capture the feeling of flying, the terror of pursuit, the bittersweet reunion with a lost loved one. The essence of the dream is subjective, ineffable, resistant to observation. This opacity has not deterred those who seek meaning within dreams. In the world of psychotherapy, dreams are still mined for insight, treated as windows into the unconscious. The symbols and stories of the dream are explored, not as literal messages, but as invitations to reflection, as clues to the tangled workings of the mind. In the creative arts, dreams are a wellspring, a source of inspiration for poets, painters, musicians. The surrealists sought to capture the logic of dreams, to break free from the tyranny of reason and allow the subconscious to speak. Salvador Dalí painted melting clocks and impossible landscapes. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote of visiting the other side in dreams, of glimpsing truths that vanish at the edge of waking. But even as we search for meaning, we are confronted by the limits of our understanding. The content of dreams is colored by culture, by experience, by individual history. What is a symbol of joy in one tradition may be an omen of sorrow in another. The brain's chemistry, too, can shape dreaming. Medications, illness, trauma, and fatigue all leave their traces in the tapestry of the night. There is no universal code, no master key. Each dream is a unique creation, born of the collision between biology and biography, between the universal structures of the brain and the singular path of a life. The study of dreams is, in many ways, a study of mystery. It is a field where science meets art, where data meets story, where certainty gives way to the unknown. The dream is both a product of the brain's machinery and an experience that transcends the sum of its parts. We can catalogue the patterns of activity, trace the chemical pathways, identify the regions that glow and flicker. But the essence of dreaming, its meaning and purpose, hovers just beyond the reach of explanation. To dream is to wander in a world shaped by the mind, yet untethered from conscious control. It is to experience for a time a reality unbounded by the laws of physics, unmoored from the strictures of logic. It is to remember and to invent, to fear and to desire, to rehearse and to explore. It is to be both actor and audience, creator and observer, within a theatre whose stage is ever shifting. As the night deepens and the mind travels further into its labyrinth, the boundaries grow thinner. The dream world, in all its complexity, beckons us onward. There are still deeper mysteries to unravel, still stranger territories to explore. The tapestry of dreams stretches out before us, intricate and unfinished, inviting us to follow its threads wherever they may lead. When the world falls silent and consciousness begins its nightly retreat, the mind embarks upon journeys that, for the longest time, remained cloaked in secrecy, a flicker behind closed eyelids, a mystery that eludes the waking grasp. For millennia, dreams were regarded as messages from gods, omens, or meaningless phantoms of sleep, their true nature as slippery as morning mist. Yet somewhere in the quiet corridors of human curiosity, a question took root. If dreams are woven from the fabric of our own minds, can we ever hope to catch their threads, to observe them as they are being spun? Thus began the extraordinary quest to decode dreams, a journey not just into the sleeping mind, but into the very heart of how we come to know what we know. Long before electrodes and scanners, dreams were studied with ink and memory. The earliest dream researchers were the dreamers themselves, scribbling down nocturnal visions at dawn, hoping to capture what so often faded with the sun's first light. The ancient Egyptians kept dream books, inscribed with interpretations and omens, while Aristotle wondered aloud at the relationship between dreams and reality. Yet, for all their efforts, a central dilemma persisted. How can one study what cannot be observed? How can we, from the outside, glimpse that hidden theatre? It was not until the 20th century, in a world humming with the birth of modern science, that the study of dreams began to take on new shape. The invention of the electroencephalogram, the EEG, opened a window onto the sleeping brain. With it, researchers could at last listen to the electrical symphony that played beneath the skull, tracing the rise and fall of sleep stages, the silent choreography of neurons as the body rested. Polysomnography, a word that rolls across the tongue like a secret, became the technique of choice. It meant, quite literally, many sleep writings, a method in which the sleeper is transformed into a living constellation of signals. Electrodes are placed across the scalp to record brain waves, bands are fastened to the chest and abdomen to trace the rhythm of breathing, sensors track the heart's slow dance, electrodes at the chin record the slackening of muscles, and tiny wires near the eyes capture the flickering movements beneath the lids. In the dim glow of a laboratory, a sleeper lies cocooned in wires, their dreams as yet unknown, but their body now a landscape mapped in exquisite detail. One of the most extraordinary discoveries of this era was the identification of rapid eye movement, or REM, sleep. In 1953, a father and son team, Eugene Aserinsky and his mentor Nathaniel Kleitman, noticed something remarkable in the EEG tracings of sleeping subjects, periods when the eyes darted back and forth beneath closed lids, even as the body lay still. These periods were accompanied by a pattern of brain waves, not unlike those of wakefulness, a paradoxical mixture of intense neural activity and bodily paralysis. Most astonishingly of all, when subjects were awakened during these periods, they reported vivid, elaborate dreams. With this, the study of dreams found its anchor. Researchers could, for the first time, peer into the night and say, "Here, now, the dreaming mind is at work." Awakening subjects during REM sleep became a standard protocol, an experiment repeated across decades, cultures, and continents. The findings were consistent. While dreaming can occur in other stages, REM dreams are the most intense, the most story-like, the most likely to be remembered. The link between REM and dreaming is not absolute, but it is strong enough to serve as a beacon in the darkness. Yet the study of dreams is not content with charting mere electrical storms. It demands a more subtle art, the careful coaxing of stories from sleep, the gentle interrogation of the dreamer upon waking. Here, science and subjectivity intermingle. The act of recalling a dream is itself a creative process, shaped by memory, language, and the act of waking itself. In the laboratory, researchers approach this task with the delicacy of archaeologists brushing dust from a relic. Subjects are awakened at precise moments, sometimes several times in a night, and asked, "What were you experiencing? What images linger? What story, if any, unfolded?" The reports are then coded, analyzed, and compared. Patterns begin to emerge, the prevalence of anxiety, the recurrence of certain themes, the mysterious logic that governs the dream world. Researchers have even developed standardized methods of content analysis, such as the Hall and Van de Castle system, in which dreams are catalogued for their characters, actions, settings, and emotions. Over thousands of dreams, a kind of map begins to take shape, a cartography not of the brain, but of the mind's nocturnal wanderings. But the desire to know more, to pierce the veil between dream and observation, has led to even more ingenious experiments. Some of the most remarkable have emerged from the study of lucid dreaming, a rare but fascinating phenomenon in which the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming and, in some cases, gains the ability to influence the dream's direction. Lucid dreaming presents a unique opportunity. If a dreamer knows they are dreaming, might they communicate with the waking world? The answer, as it turns out, is yes, if one knows where to look. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, researchers such as Keith Hearn and Stephen LaBerge realized that a lucid dreamer, aware of their sleeping state, could use the only voluntary muscles left active during REM sleep, the muscles that control the eyes. By instructing lucid dreamers to move their eyes in a predetermined pattern, left, right, upon realizing they were dreaming, researchers created a kind of Morse code between worlds. In the laboratory, these eye movements were recorded as unmistakable signals embedded in the otherwise random flickering of REM. This communication opened up new vistas. Researchers could now ask lucid dreamers to perform tasks, to time events, to report on their experiences within the dream. In some experiments, dreamers were asked to count seconds, to perform specific movements, or even to solve simple math problems, all while their brain and body were monitored. The results were revelatory. Actions performed in the dream world took roughly the same amount of time as in waking life. The brain activity associated with imagined movement during a dream closely matched the patterns observed when the same actions were performed while awake. The boundaries between worlds, once thought absolute, were proven permeable. Of course, as with all science, the tools shape what can be seen. The EEG, for all its power, paints only in broad strokes, tracing the rise and fall of waves across the scalp. To peer deeper, researchers turned to functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, and positron emission tomography, PET scans. These techniques, though awkward for sleeping subjects, allowed for an unprecedented view of the dreaming brain at work. Within the humming chamber of an fMRI machine, a subject drifts into sleep, their brain illuminated in real time. Regions light up in bursts of oxygen and blood flow. The visual cortex, even in utter darkness, pulses with activity. The limbic system, seat of emotion, surges and ebbs. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, so often the arbiter of logic and self-control, grows quiet, its influence muted. The dream emerges as a play of images and feelings, vivid and strange, unconstrained by the rational hand. In one particularly elegant experiment, researchers at the Max Planck Institute in Germany took advantage of lucid dreamers' rare talents. They asked their subjects to make specific eye movements while dreaming, a signal to mark the beginning and end of a task, such as clenching a fist. By comparing the brain activity during dreamed actions with that of imagined and actual movements while awake, they found striking similarities. The dreaming brain, it seems, rehearses the world as if it were real. Yet the art of dream research is not confined to machines and measurements. It is, at its heart, a dance between the objective and the subjective, the measurable and the ineffable. Consider the challenge of capturing a dream. The moment of waking is a fragile one, the memory of the dream poised on the edge of forgetting. Researchers have experimented with all manner of techniques to improve dream recall, keeping subjects in darkness, minimizing movement, providing cues, even awakening them with gentle sound rather than abrupt alarms. The use of dream diaries, carefully maintained logs in which subjects record their dreams upon waking, remains a staple of the field. Over weeks or months, patterns emerge, recurring symbols, themes of flight or pursuit, landscapes both familiar and strange. In some studies, participants are asked to keep waking diaries as well, recording their daily experiences and emotions. By comparing the two, researchers probe the question, do dreams reflect waking life? The evidence is mixed, but suggestive. Traumas, anxieties, and preoccupations often echo in dreams, transformed by the logic of sleep into metaphors and dramas. Yet not all dreams are so easily traced to their origins. Some seem to arise from deeper currents, their meaning elusive. In the 21st century, the study of dreams has entered yet another era, one shaped by advances in technology and new philosophies of mind. Machine learning and artificial intelligence have been brought to bear on the analysis of dream reports, seeking patterns too subtle for human eyes. In Japan, researchers have even attempted to reconstruct the visual content of dreams by training algorithms on brain activity recorded during wakefulness and sleep. By matching patterns of neural firing to images, they have produced blurry, dreamlike reconstructions, ghostly glimpses of what the mind sees in darkness. But the ingenuity of dream research is not merely technical, it is also conceptual, a matter of asking the right questions, of devising experiments that respect the strangeness of the subject. Some researchers have explored the effects of external stimuli on dreams: a quiet tone, a gentle touch, a waft of scent delivered during REM sleep. In some cases, these intrusions are woven into the dream narrative, transformed by the sleeping mind into symbols and events. A scent of roses might become a walk in a flower garden. A gentle tap on the wrist becomes a handshake or a knock at the door. The dream, ever creative, absorbs the world and makes it its own. Consider, too, the study of nightmares, the darker shadows of dreaming. Researchers have devised protocols to deliberately induce nightmares, often by exposing subjects to frightening films or stories before sleep. The resulting dreams are then analyzed for their content, their emotional tone, their physiological signatures. In some cases, therapies have been developed to help those plagued by recurrent nightmares. Techniques such as imagery rehearsal therapy, in which the dreamer rehearses a new, less frightening ending to their dream while awake, hoping to reshape the narrative in sleep. And what of the dreams of those who cannot speak? In a poignant turn, researchers have studied the dreams of children, of the elderly, of people with neurological conditions or locked-in syndromes. In each case, special care is taken to adapt methods, to listen for what can be said or shown, to find the traces of dreaming in gesture, in drawing, in the subtle shifts of expression that accompany sleep. All these tools, all these techniques, form a kind of lattice, a framework upon which the study of dreams is built. Yet, for all their power, they remain, in some sense, incomplete. The dream itself is always just out of reach, its true nature glimpsed only in fragments and echoes. Science, with all its rigor, can trace the arcs of neurons, record the flicker of the eyes, map the shifting patterns of blood and oxygen. But the dreamer's experience, vivid and strange, remains forever at the center, a world within a world. And so the quest continues. Each new method, each ingenious experiment, brings us a step closer to understanding, even as the dream slips away upon waking. The laboratory lights flicker, the machines hum, and somewhere behind closed eyes a new story unfolds. In the next quiet moment, we will turn to what these studies have revealed, not just about sleep and dreams, but about the mind itself and the deep enigma of consciousness that lies waiting in the darkness. There is a quiet magic that descends when night envelops the world, when the gentle hush of darkness invites us to retreat into beds and burrow beneath covers, surrendering ourselves to slumber's gentle tide. Yet as our bodies grow still, a different kind of journey begins, one that takes place behind closed eyelids, within the intricate labyrinth of the mind. Here, in the shadowed theatre of sleep, dreams arise, ephemeral, elusive, and astonishingly vivid. In this final act, let us drift slowly into the realm of dreams themselves, contemplating their deep connection to our humanity, and pondering what ancient secrets they might whisper to those who listen. What is a dream, truly? For centuries, poets have called them visions or phantoms, a theatre of the mind where impossible things become real. Scientists, in their measured way, speak of patterns of neural firing, subconscious processing, the byproducts of memory and emotion interwoven by the brain as it rests. But neither poetry nor science alone can quite capture the wonder and strangeness of dreaming. Perhaps it is because dreams are both of us and beyond us, familiar yet always mysterious, constructed by the mind, yet seemingly arriving from a deeper, more ancient source. In the soft darkness of midnight, a sleeper's mind slips free from the strict logic and constraint of daylight. The world of waking recedes, and from the depths of consciousness, images and stories begin to rise. There is no clear boundary, no border crossing with signs and guards, just a gentle dissolving of the self into shifting impressions. One moment you are yourself, walking down a street you have never seen, under a sky whose stars are arranged in unfamiliar constellations. The next, you are someone else entirely, a child in a distant garden, or an animal running through wild grass, or a voice speaking from the shadows. In dreams, the self fractures and reforms, becoming fluid, mutable, unbound. For some, dreams are vivid and cinematic, painted in colours richer than any canvas, filled with characters and dialogue and drama. For others, they come as fleeting fragments, faces half-remembered, places that shimmer at the edge of recognition, feelings that linger on waking like the scent of rain. There are dreams that terrify, dreams that comfort, dreams that perplex with their strangeness. And then there are the dreams that feel like messages from another world. A loved one long gone, returned for a brief embrace, a place you have never visited, yet know with absolute certainty, a story that unfolds with the logic of myth and riddle. Across cultures and centuries, humans have wondered about these nighttime visions. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were messages from the gods, and so did the Greeks, who built temples where dreamers might seek healing or prophecy. The Babylonians recorded their dreams on clay tablets, searching for omens and guidance. In China, dreams were seen as journeys of the soul, wandering free while the body slept. In the Hindu tradition, dreams were woven into the very fabric of reality, part of the ever-shifting illusion, Maya, that was the world itself. Even today, in the quiet moments before waking, many still search their dreams for meaning. A glimpse of the future, a warning, a reassurance, a puzzle to be unravelled. Modern science, with its array of tools and methods, has illuminated some of the mechanisms behind dreaming, but the heart of the mystery remains. We know that dreams are most vividly experienced during rapid eye movement, or REM, sleep, a stage in the sleep cycle characterized by bursts of electrical activity in the brain, muscle paralysis, and darting movements of the eyes beneath closed lids. During REM, the brain's visual and emotional centers flare with activity, while the logical, controlling regions quiet down. It is as if the mind is freed from its daytime constraints, able to explore its own depths without interference. Memories, emotions, and fragments of experience are woven together into strange tapestries. But why do we dream? This question has haunted thinkers from Aristotle to Freud, and still there is no single answer. Some propose that dreams help us process emotions, working through fears or desires the conscious mind dares not admit. Others suggest that dreams are a form of memory consolidation, a way for the brain to sift through the day's events, discarding the irrelevant and strengthening the important. Still others see dreams as a playground for creativity, a space where the mind rehearses solutions to problems or stumbles upon new ideas. Perhaps most intriguingly, dreams reveal the mind's capacity for invention. Within the dream, we create worlds from nothing, landscapes, stories, even languages that exist only for the duration of the night. The surrealist painter Salvador Dalí credited his wildest images to the strange logic of dreams, and writers from Mary Shelley to Robert Louis Stevenson recounted how entire stories arrived to them in sleep. The mind, set free from the strictures of reality, becomes a boundless stage for imagination. Yet dreams are not only a source of creativity, they are also a mirror reflecting hidden aspects of ourselves. In dreams, the polite masks of everyday life fall away and our deepest hopes and fears come forward. Freud, with his fascination for the unconscious, believed that dreams were the royal road to understanding hidden desires. While many of his theories have been revised or set aside, the idea that dreams reveal something essential about the dreamer persists. The symbols that populate our dreams, a locked door, a flight through the air, a lost child, are often unique to us, shaped by our memories and experiences, yet they also tap into universal themes. Across cultures, people dream of falling, of being chased, of flying, of meeting loved ones lost. There is something archetypal in these images, as if dreams connect us to a collective reservoir of story and symbol. This shared territory of dreams hints at a deeper truth, that dreaming is not just a solitary act, but a human one. Across time and space, all who sleep have dreamed. Infants, before they have language, flutter their eyes in REM and smile at visions only they can see. The elderly, nearing the end of life, often report vivid dreams, sometimes of childhood places, sometimes of those who have gone before. Even those lost to illness or injury, who cannot speak or move, show patterns of brain activity that suggest they, too, may travel the dreamlands. To dream, it seems, is to be human. Yet for all their ubiquity, dreams remain curiously private. We wake, blinking and disoriented, clutching at the remnants of a story that dissolves like mist. Sometimes we share our dreams with others, trying to put into words what we have seen and felt. Yet no description can fully capture the texture of a dream, the colours, the sensations, the sense of certainty or confusion. Dreams remind us of the limits of language, the boundaries of self. They are a secret theatre, performed anew each night for an audience of one. And so, dreams are both a link and a boundary, a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, the present and the forgotten, the personal and the universal. They are shaped by our lives, yet they also shape us, offering insights or puzzles that linger long after waking. Some dreams are stitched from the day's events, a conversation replayed, a worry magnified, a hope transformed. Others seem to arise from nowhere, bearing symbols and stories that feel ancient, as if borrowed from the deep well of human experience. Consider for a moment the dreams that come in times of crisis or transformation. Soldiers in war have reported haunting dreams of home and loss. The grieving often dream of loved ones returned, offering comfort or asking forgiveness. Those who face great decisions sometimes dream of paths in the forest, of doors opening and closing. In these moments, dreams seem to speak a language all their own, offering guidance or solace that reason cannot provide. Some psychologists speak of big dreams, those rare, vivid visions that feel freighted with meaning, that shape the course of lives or inspire great works. Whether these dreams are messages, metaphors, or merely the brain's way of sorting chaos, they remind us that the mind is more mysterious than we can easily explain. Yet not all dreams are so grand. There are the mundane dreams, the ones that replay the day's errands, the small anxieties, the familiar faces. There are dreams that wander aimlessly, shifting from scene to scene, never quite settling. There are dreams that slip away before we can recall them, leaving only a sense of having travelled somewhere distant. And there are dreams that repeat, returning night after night, as if insisting on being understood. The mind, in sleep, is both a storyteller and a puzzle maker, forever weaving and unravelling. Science, for all its advances, struggles to grasp the full nature of dreaming. Brain scans can show us which regions light up during REM, and experiments can reveal how deprivation of sleep affects mood and memory. Yet the subjective richness of dreams, their colours, their emotions, their unexpected logic, remains elusive. No machine can read a dream in its fullness. No algorithm can capture the way a dream feels from inside the dreamer's mind. There is a frontier here, a borderland where neuroscience meets philosophy, where biology touches the edge of mystery. Some researchers have begun to explore dreams in new ways, asking volunteers to signal from within lucid dreams, or using sophisticated algorithms to guess at the images a sleeper might be seeing. There are even attempts to record dreams, translating patterns of neural activity into rough images. But these efforts, for all their ingenuity, are only the faintest echo of the dream itself. The essence of dreaming, its strangeness, its beauty, its power to move us, remains for now beyond the reach of science. But perhaps that is as it should be. For dreams belong to that part of humanity that is irreducible, that resists easy explanation. They are the poetry of the mind, the music of the unconscious, the stories we tell ourselves when no one else is listening. To dream is to inhabit a space where logic gives way to metaphor, where the impossible becomes possible, where the boundaries of self and world blur and dissolve. And in this way, dreams remind us of our own depths. For all our learning and reason, there are parts of ourselves we do not fully know, wells of memory, rivers of emotion, islands of longing and hope. Dreams draw from these places, bringing to the surface what lies hidden by day. They offer, if not answers, then questions, inviting us to wonder, to explore, to accept the mystery. As you lie in bed, the world quiet around you, perhaps you can sense the threshold of dreaming. The mind, relaxing its grip, begins to drift. Thoughts loosen and float. Images shimmer at the edge of vision. You are both here and elsewhere, poised between waking and sleep. Soon the gentle current will carry you into that other country where stories unfold in silence and the self expands, dissolves, transforms. Somewhere perhaps an ancient storyteller once said that to dream is to speak with the soul. Or perhaps it is to listen, to attend to the quiet voice within, to hear what wisdom or folly or longing the night might bring. In this, dreams unite us with all who have ever slept, all who have wondered at the strange and beautiful world within. And so, the mystery of dreams remains, an invitation, a question, a song at the edge of sleep. Each night, as darkness falls and the mind grows quiet, we set forth once more on this most human of journeys, guided by no map, returning with stories no one else can tell. What will you dream tonight? And so, our journey through the shimmering veil of dreams gently drifts to a close, like a comet tail fading into the hush of space. May the quiet mysteries of your own night skies invite peaceful contemplation until we meet again for more Dreamtime tales beneath the cosmic glow. Sleep softly, dream deeply, and return soon to wander the stars once more.